Welcome back to This Week in Film.
Fourth time's a charm.
It's a weekly podcast where we come together to discuss the movies that we watched over the past week. I'm Nick Panunto, and joined as always, RaysRayndomRayquests and Charlie Chester.
Where have I been?
I don't know who those imposters were last week, but I'm glad they're gone.
I'm glad too. They were frightening.
Yep.
We were sitting around in a basement, not in our normal studio, not our normal comfortable surroundings. We sat in a basement with a lamp.
Just smoking cigarettes.
Was it a dark basement?
That was lit. It was lit. We're at Lou's house, who's now part of the show. If you go to our website on the Find Us page, you can find Lou and Dan's picture. Dan's picture is from the day after a bachelor party, and Lou's picture is from, I think, the night of a bachelor party.
Wow.
Fun times.
All right.
Two different times.
Yep. Well, we're back together again. Let's get right to it. Charlie, what did you see?
I've seen so much, but most recently...
Not to brag. Jeez.
No, I have all this free time with no one to spend it with, so I get to watch movies all the time.
About the saddest thing I've heard.
Yep, there's a tear. Most recently I saw Green Room. Green Room.
Yes?
Is that the Ben Stiller movie where he's in the 70s?
No?
Is it just a guy in front of a green screen the whole?
Is that the Matt Damon movie
keep
where
going.
he's trying to fight a
You
rat?
guess it.
Green Zone?
Yeah.
That's
other
why I
one was
pronounced it
The other one
very
was
clearly.
Greenberg. I liked
Yeah.
Greenberg.
I never saw it.
It's good sound, good movie soundtrack. A lot of LCD sound system.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
I always like Ben Stiller.
Yeah.
But Charlie, you saw...
Green Room, as in the green room in like a club where like the performers get set up and just hang before they go on stage.
Right.
Green Room.
Right.
Keeps them fresh
Yeah.
and green.
I
I don't know if that's why it's called a green room, but it makes sense.
That does make sense.
Yeah.
I just made that up.
You
Yeah.
did.
It's not
Congratulations.
accurate, but yeah. So I really wanted to see this movie because this is the second feature by a guy named Jeremy Saulnier, who did a movie called Blue Ruin.
Awesome movie.
Yeah. Nick has not seen it based on the look on his face that you guys can't see.
I was trying to make a joke about, will his next movie have another color?
Oh, I didn't even think about that. Yeah, 2 colors.
Oh, maybe he's going for a trilogy.
He's gonna remake Red Dragon next.
Right, yeah.
The third remake of the
Right,
same
yeah, exactly.
story.
Yeah, Blue Ruin is an awesome flick. It's on Netflix right now. I would recommend anybody go check it out. Super indie. The guy pulls off a miracle with such a low budget of just a tension, nail-biting experience. It's essentially a revenge flick, Blue Ruin,
Yeah.
right?
Yep.
So this director gets like hit with everybody wants a piece of him now. All the major studios are like, offering him major budgets to do their movies, and he says no to all of them. And mind you, Blue Ruin was done on $10,000, if that, maybe a little bit more. Like, it's a low budget flick, and they pulled off some amazing things with it. So like these major companies are coming to him with millions of dollars, and this ballsy dude says, no, I want to make my own flick, and gets, I think, private funding to do this movie Green Room. And Green Room is another suspense thriller. And basic idea is there's a punk rock band on the road. They get told about a gig in, like middle of nowhere. They drive to it. They're headlining, and it ends up being a neo-Nazi club owned by neo-Nazis. The neo-Nazis are the only ones that go there. This community's got a lot of neo-Nazis in it.
They thought it was just a club called Aaron's.
Right.
Oh, God.
That's a very clever joke that I'm going to cut out of the show.
So they're playing this gig. They win over the crowd. a very hostile crowd, but they win them over. They go back to the green room and they walk in on someone getting murdered by one of these neo-Nazi guys. And the basic idea of the rest of the movie is that they shack up in the green room. They boarded themselves in, and it's like a survival film at that point because the neo-Nazis have to kill them. Otherwise, they're going to get the law involved. And it's just them trying to get out alive. So there's like 6 of them stuck in this room. And the main neo-Nazi, the guy that owns the club, is played by Patrick Stewart. And you wouldn't think it, but he is terrifying in this movie.
Yeah, he is. Have you ever seen Conspiracy Theory?
Is he in a wheelchair?
He can read your mind.
Yeah. He actually pulled the prop from X-Men. He owns it. He brings it with him to every set. He plays this. He plays it monotone, like a very I'm not gonna show any emotion. Like I don't care about these guys at all. Like his decision to like order the hit on these guys is so casually frightening that it's he creates a character that is iconic. It's so good. And the main kid in the movie, the main the lead, not the lead singer, I think it's lead guitarist, is played by Anton Yelchin. Yelchin. I'll pronounce it 10 different ways and I won't ever get it right. That's the guy who recently passed away. He's best probably known for Star Trek. He plays the Russian
Chekhov.
Alpha Dog too.
Alpha Dog's a cool movie.
Yeah.
He
gets kidnapped.
Dude, yeah. I'm so depressed by his death. Because he's so good in this movie, and I've been a fan of his since I worked. I interned at Tribeca Films. That was like the first thing I ever did in the film industry before Troma, and I worked for Jane Rosenthal and De Niro. So like De Niro was always in the office. So I really shy dude, by the way, De Niro. Like would never make eye contact.
Let's get one thing. It was Sean De Niro.
Somehow we got into the fact that Charlie has met Robert De Niro before.
Yeah.
Him and his buddy Bobby.
Yeah, me and Bobby go
Bobby
way back.
D.
Yeah. But when I was at Tribeca Film, they just got a film that was directed by David Duchovny. It was David Duchovny's first directorial debut, and they wanted to push him into like the limelight as a director at this point. And it was Anton Yelchin. It was his first flick. It was like him as a young kid. And I remember seeing the movie because we would watch and like give feedback on these things that they were purchasing and thinking like this kid is charming for such a young kid. And ever since then I followed his career, and I can't think of one movie I didn't like him in. Like he brought it to everything. Even like I was so hesitant about the sequel, the remake to Fright Night, because that was like one of my favorite movies growing up. And he was awesome in that movie. And in this one, he plays the part timid and like frightened like the whole time. And you're legitimately feel for him. And he gets like, the director goes a route of gore. Like when people are getting killed, it's not like implied off camera. It's not like a quick bullet to the head. Like if you get a bullet to the head, like it is a bloody freaking mess when you get shot in the head, and he doesn't cut away from it. And at one point, Anton takes a beating, and it is disturbing to watch. And afterwards, you're like, this is a broken character after what he just went through. And the actor like kills it. He absolutely kills it. And yeah, like I was literally on the edge of my seat for like an hour and 45 minutes. It was really good. I didn't know where it was going to go, how it was going to play. And they even have like really fun moments in it where like the characters are devising a plan to go this in like one direction, and then you're like, okay,
that's how that group started.
They've One Direction. It was a One Direction joke.
Harry Styles.
Yeah. Is that one of the guys?
That's the only guy I know.
I thought it was Nick Jonas. No?
No, they're the Jonas Brothers.
Oh, sorry. How stupid of me.
Anyway.
So, like, they would, like, write in to the script, like, okay,
Great
so...
to be back, guys.
Knocking it out of the park.
There's like moments in there where they're like, say, just for instance, I don't want to ruin like these really cool moments, but like they're counting bullets and they're like, like how many guys are out there? There's 6 bullets or whatever. And then, for no good reason, like the gun falls, between the cracks in the floor and they lose the gun. You know what I mean? It's just like they're setting things up and like these rules or whatnot, but life gets in the way a lot of times,
right.
And they try to ground it into reality and say like the movie is not going to plan itself out. Random things are just going to take us off course all the time, and it ends up working really, really well in this flick, which could have been super simple. Ends up being extremely layered, and I suspect that the director is going to move on to some really big things next.
Yeah, he's definitely on the fast track. I've been wanting to see this ever since it was on the festival circuit, and it got such good, buzz from that. And then I just haven't gotten around to see it. So yeah, it's definitely on one of the top things on my list to see in the coming weeks.
He wrote this, you said?
He wrote it and directed it.
Nice. Yeah, that sounds like a cool movie. I'd like to see it as well.
Yeah, definitely recommend it.
It's a Blue Ruin.
No.
Blue Ruin is another
Greenberg.
movie.
Green
Room.
Green Room.
Ray, what did you see this week?
This week, I watched a movie that Nick has been talking about for years now. I would, or maybe a year or so.
Maybe.
Ever since you saw it, you've been mentioning to people that they need to see this movie.
Yeah.
And I finally got around to seeing it. It's called Headhunters. It's a Norwegian film directed by Morten Tildum, who you may know from a movie called The Imitation Game, which was very popular the last year. It was nominated for a bunch of awards. I think it actually won Best Adapted Screenplay.
Yeah, it sounds about right.
The Oscar for that.
That doesn't sound right.
So this movie came before Imitation Game, and it's in Norwegian. It's based on a book by Joe Nesbo.
Oh, no way.
Yeah. Of the same name. He's done a bunch of he's had a couple of his books made into movies, right?
I don't know.
Oh, I thought you knew who he was.
Oh, I didn't know it was a book. Like now I want to read the book. I really,
You made it sound like you recognized the name Joe Nesbo.
Yeah, you perked up there.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, okay.
My boy Joe Nesbo.
I've heard of books.
Well, anyway, he's a Norwegian writer who's had a couple of his movies books made into movies. So this movie stars a guy named Askell Hennie. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. Norwegian actor, and then a Danish actor named Nikolai Coster-Waldau. I definitely didn't pronounce that right, but you'll know him as Jaime Lannister from Game of Thrones. Yeah. So that kind of gives you a little insight. So going into this movie, I'd seen the trailer, and I'd heard Nick talk about it briefly. So I thought this was going to be a heist movie.
Yeah.
It's not a heist movie at all.
Charlie, have you seen this?
No. Not at all.
So the premise is, the reason why I thought it was going to be a heist movie is about this guy named Roger, and he works as a headhunter, hence the title.
Yeah.
He's one of the most profitable headhunters in all of Norway. But he also leads a double life.
And a headhunter is what?
Oh, sorry. A headhunter is somebody who seeks out people to be hired by other companies, right? Is that a good way of describing it? And then he gets a cut of what the guy makes.
Something like, he gets like a fee.
Right.
Yeah.
So he does very well with that. But he also has a double life and is an art thief. And what he does is he sneaks into people's houses with the help of his friend who works for a security system company. His friend disarms the people's houses. He sneaks in and steals a piece of their art and replaces it with a fake. And before they even, they can go weeks, months, years before they even know something's stolen. And by then, he's already sold the original and made a profit off of it. Very good business. So,
which I just don't understand art the art business.
Right.
I understand art, but the buying of selling art.
Just buying and selling art, and like the fact that somebody would even notice if it was different.
Right, yeah.
If it's that close to same here. So I'm thinking this movie's going to be about this guy, like he's going to, have get a big job, and he's going to steal like something like really expensive, which is how it starts out. He meets Jamie Lannister's character at an art gallery through his wife. And his wife happens to mention when they go home at night that he has like this painting that's like very rare, extremely rare, in his grandmother's house, and he's looking to get rid of it. And that the light bulb goes off in Roger's head. He's like, "Oh, well, I got to steal this painting." So he gets his friend. His friend is reluctant to do it, but he gets his friend to help sneak him in. He sneaks into this guy's house, gets the painting, steals it, and is walking out. And he realizes, or he calls his wife's cell phone. And his wife's cell phone rings in the guy's bedroom.
Yeah.
And he realizes that this dude is sleeping with his wife.
Yeah.
So that kind of throws a little wrinkle in it. He still steals the painting.
That whole scene
Right.
is so tense.
Right. When he's he's hearing the phone ring,
Right.
and he's like looking for it in the house.
But you're also like, get out of the house.
Right, exactly. Because he has the painting, and he doesn't know like when this guy's coming back.
Yeah.
So he gets the painting, goes home. His wife's acting like nothing's going on. He knows she's cheating on him. Wakes up the next morning, and his partner is supposed to take his car and drive the painting to whoever sells it or whatever. And his partner is dead in his car in his garage, and he doesn't know what to do. So he puts him in the trunk of his car, drives to like a lake, and throws his partner in the lake. His partner wakes up in the lake, and you realize that he's not dead. He was like shot with like a poison needle, and it didn't kill him. It was only like
he didn't get all.
He didn't get all the poison. So this sets off like a cat and mouse type of scenario where somehow Jamie Lannister finds out that he stole his painting and starts hunting him down to the point where it's just like ridiculous. This movie just turns into like a ridiculous, like he's chasing him. Jamie Lannister's like a special forces op, so he like can trace him through the woods and like.
Wait, is there a moment where he's hiding in an outhouse in the toilet?
Yeah,
I did see this.
Yeah.
Wait, you saw the whole film?
Yeah, I'm like, why does it sound so familiar?
Then we can talk
why
all
does
about
it. So familiar.
I probably wouldn't shut up about
I do
it.
remember it now.
Yeah, so there's a scene in the movie
So
where
spoiler alert.
Spoiler alert. We're gonna spoil the whole movie. now.
Yeah.
There's a scene in the movie where this guy is, being chased by this special forces guy, and he runs into an outhouse, and he realizes he has nowhere to go, and climbs into the toilet of this outhouse.
This outhouse looks like it's been there since Norway was founded,
and hides in the toilet in just like gallons of shit.
Yeah, I was thinking about that. I'm like,
And
how many people? That took an army of people just crapping. How much shit that he's waiting
and
through.
just lays in there using a toilet paper roll to breathe out of.
Yeah. Oh. Like
An absolutely disgusting scene.
Yeah.
so it's somehow worse. It's probably worse because he has to like go into it so slow than
Right.
to
make him
what's,
ripple in the poo.
What's the millionaire? Slumdog Millionaire, where the
Right.
kid falls in.
Right.
But he falls in and gets out as fast as he can. But like he has to like
Slowly and just stay there and not move.
into it.
Yeah.
So
and then put his head under. Oh man.
It's like the consistency of like just mashed potatoes just slowly sinking into
one of the more disgusting, cringeworthy scenes I've seen in a long time.
like buttery mashed potatoes.
The movie is very violent. There's a lot of scenes where people come into this cat and mouse thing and that shouldn't be there and get killed unknowingly. There's a scene where a dog gets killed.
Oh yeah.
Which is very gruesome.
That was messed up.
I hope no animals were harmed in the making of this film because it looked very realistic.
It looked very real.
I don't remember who killed the dog.
Roger kills the dog because the dog is attacking.
It's an
him.
attack dog.
Yeah, he has means to kill the dog.
Yeah.
But the way the dog goes out is just very gruesome.
And then it just continues.
Right.
The character Roger, like he essentially is like he's like a loser, right? They
Well,
make him off to be like
he's an
pretty pathetic.
overachiever. He has a really hot wife, and he's very short, and he doesn't have much hair.
There's nothing wrong with that last part.
Right? No, of course not. He's very an underachiever, and he's been
or
over
the having a hot wife part. There's nothing wrong with that.
exactly.
Either.
Oh yeah, he's playing off as if he's making way more money than he is.
Right.
Yeah.
And he's been overachieving his whole life, and he's finally this has caught up to him, and like just his life just starts spiraling out of control.
Yeah, but he's definitely not a tough guy. Like
No.
when he's getting chased, he's like
scared.
He's a big
Scared
puss.
out of his mind. Yeah.
Yeah, he goes through so many lengths to hide his identity and like
That scene
get out of this.
by the river
Right, when he's
where he
burning his clothes
and Bix his
and Bix his head.
Oh
so
yeah, that's
God.
uncomfortable to watch
That
because
is so
it's like
hard to watch.
it's like an old rusty Bic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
and he's just cutting the shit out
Right,
of
he's
himself.
just he's just come to he's at his wit's end at this point, and he just needs to
Change identities.
change identities. And
Yeah.
he doesn't want to die, basically, because he will if this guy catches him. So that's what the movie turns into. Like I said, like more of a cat and mouse chase game. The ending is very good. I won't spoil the ending for anybody who's never seen it, but it comes together nicely throughout the entire movie. Like I said, I was kind of disappointed I thought I was getting into a heist film, so when that happens to me, sometimes I'm pleasantly surprised. This time I kind of wasn't. But the ending really brought it together for me, and like because there was a lot of questions, and it kind of brings all the questions are answered. You're like, why is this person doing this? How did he know this? And then you kind of find out at the end like why somebody knew this was going on, or how he found out he stole the painting.
Yeah.
And like why his wife was acting the way she was acting, and all that kind of stuff.
It's really well done.
Yeah,
They're
so they
well
really bring it home together nicely. Like I said, it's foreign language film, so it's in Norwegian, so you have to watch it with subtitles, which I don't mind. I don't know about you guys.
No, I don't.
That never bothers me.
I didn't mind.
I know it turns some people off.
I feel like I saw it with dubbed though.
Oh, I hate that.
Yeah, that would be worse.
I think.
And actual one last thing, fun fact: it's the highest grossing Norwegian film of all time.
Oh,
Really?
Yeah.
That's interesting.
So if you have any Norwegian friends, ask them if they've seen Headhunters. And the director obviously isn't going anywhere. Like I said, Imitation Game was pretty popular. I actually didn't even like that movie that much, but a lot of people seem to like it. So it seems like he's going to be.
I liked Imitation Game.
I'm not a big Cumberbatch fan. I can't stand his mouth.
What? Like literally,
Like this
literally his mouth.
Yeah,
or the way
his
he
like
talks?
his like mouth like it makes. Like you can tell he had a lisp, and it just annoys. I don't know. It just annoys me.
Wow.
Yeah. So
Very
as I digress,
specific
He knows,
thing to not
Charlie.
like. Yeah.
He knows.
but yeah, check it out. I think you'll really like it. It's a very fun movie. Like I said, if you can get past the subtitles,
Yeah,
which most people can.
I was the same way. I thought it was going to be an art heist movie,
Right.
and it's
just crazy and
keeps
wacky.
changing
Yeah.
what it's about. Yeah, it was a lot of fun.
But yeah, Headhunters, check it out.
So closing things out this week, I watched two movies. I watched the 1990 Arnold Schwarzenegger classic, Paul Verhoeven's Total Recall.
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
A fantastic movie. I also watched 2012's Colin Farrell's, Len Wiseman directed Total Recall. Not a good movie. Not a good movie at all.
No.
Yeah. So I figured I would compare and contrast the two movies because why not? The Schwarzenegger Total Recall is I was saying this to you earlier, right? But it is, if you haven't seen it in some time, it is perfect. Like almost from the top down as far as tone, storytelling, character development. And as long as you can get past Arnold Schwarzenegger being Arnold Schwarzenegger,
Right.
and even like just as soon as you accept that Arnold is supposed to be the everyman,
Right.
it's so good from the very beginning of the movie. And I never caught this before, but from the very beginning of the 90s one, you don't know what's real,
Right.
and it is so lightly done. And in the 2012 Total Recall, it is so poorly done. If you want to look at both movies, and in the Arnold one, the movie starts with him having a dream that he's on Mars, with the girl Melina, I think her name is,
Right.
and he
Is that
wakes
Sharon
up.
Stone?
No, Sharon Stone's his wife.
The brunette.
Yeah, the brunette whose name I don't know. And then on Mars, he wakes up because he's cracked his spacesuit helmet open and he's doing that eye bulge thing because he's dying.
Which is an iconic scene.
Yeah, and the 2012 version, it starts with Colin Farrell and Jessica Biel running down a hallway, and they're not on Mars; they're in Australia, and she falls down into the water.
Oh, yeah, they completely omit Mars from the entire.
There's no Mars in this movie at all. Now, I haven't read the book, which I am aware of books. The Philip K. Dick, I forget the name of it.
I'll think of it too.
We Can Remember Your Dreams Wholesale, something like that.
Yes.
And I don't know if that movie takes place on Mars, if the Mars thing is totally invented for the old movie. But in the new movie, there are 2 land masses left, Britain and Australia. And then the rest of the world is inhabitable. And
uninhabitable.
What did I say?
Inhabitable.
The opposite of that. No one can live there. And in the 90s one, Earth is just a regular place.
It's just the future. And Mars is a vacation destination and also a place where it's like
colonized.
It's like Bermuda, where the locals are treated poorly.
Right.
But people go there for a very expensive vacation.
Sure.
So in the 90s one, Arnold Schwarzenegger is a regular guy who's just very bored with his life. And in the new one, Colin Farrell is a regular guy who I don't even know.
He's just Colin
Farrell. And
doing a bad American accent.
I guess he was, yeah. Kate
Beckinsale.
Kate Beckinsale, who plays his wife, also has a bad American accent, but she just gives up on it the minute.
Are there aliens in the new one?
No, in the new one, it's just America. And so that's the other thing. So in the old, I thought this would be easier to do to bang them against each other, but it's much more challenging. So for instance, in the old one, the poor people on Mars are the mutants, like people who have been exposed to radioactive air or waste or whatever, and their faces are melting off, or they've got deformities like the lady with 3 boobs. Right. And the new one, he just goes to Australian Chinatown, and there's just a lady with 3 boobs there because it was in the first one.
Just shoehorned it.
Right. It just doesn't make any sense. But everything about the new one, it's supposed to be, here's a fresh take on a classic story. But in order to understand the new one, you have to have seen the original one. And watching the original one ruins the new one because it's so much better.
Right.
And one thing I want to say before I forget is Colin Farrell's friend from where they work at the RoboCop factory makes a joke about Colin Farrell's wife very early on, where he says, "Hey, you ought to treat your wife better than that. Women like her don't just fall out of the sky." And for the next 2.5 hours, all I did was wait for the scene where he throws her out the window and for someone to say, "Well, I guess women like that do fall out of the sky." It never goddamn happens. It never happens. And there's so many times that half of the movie takes place 40 stories off the ground.
Like, come on, just do it.
And she could have fallen to her death at any time. Oh man, of all the disappointments in that movie, never getting that line, I feel, is one of the worst. But
Len Wiseman, what has he done that we should love? I can't remember.
Underworld movies, yeah. He hasn't done any. He hasn't done anything that you love.
No. Okay.
He's married to Kate Beckinsale, or he was.
Right. So she does every single movie he does.
Yeah.
And then he screwed that up like he screws up every movie.
Right.
We just crushed Len Wiseman in 10 seconds.
He makes some terrible movies.
No, I'm annoyed by him because I've wasted probably about 9 hours of my life on his movies. I can't take it anymore. Verhoeven. What's the guy's name that directed the original?
Paul Verhoeven.
Directed my favorite movie of all time. So he's a master of tone. Big time.
Troopers?
Dude, RoboCop is the greatest movie ever made.
Oh, yeah. Oh, let me get into the RoboCop thing.
Yeah.
All right. So that actually is a great thing to bring up, Charlie. Nicely done.
You're welcome.
So the Verhoeven Total Recall from the 90s it's one of his like signature movies with the over-the-top violence. It's a satire on American life at the time that the movie came out. It's just over-the-top violent. The new one, sorry, let me go back. So the violence in the movie is so gross. People getting shot, it's just they must have spent a fortune on blood.
It's rated R,
first
right?
one. Oh, it's got it.
Yeah.
There's no way it's not. And the new one, to get people to go see it, is rated PG-13.
Right.
So in order to have like action sequences, they create this army of RoboCops that patrol with Kate Beckinsale. They go with her everywhere, and that's who Colin Farrell shoots in the face and all over. He just shoots these robots, and it's just there's no blood, there's no consequences for killing any of these robots. There's you don't care. You don't care about any of the henchmen in the original, but like when you see someone's face get blown off,
they're people.
Yeah, you're like, oh man. And there's so many good sequences in the new one that if he was fighting a real person, they would be like completely memorable, because a lot of the movie takes place in these weird elevators and whatnot. And there's this one scene where he's fighting a robot, and the elevators move in 3 dimensions. Like they move back and forth and up and down. And at one point the robot's got its arms in the elevator, and they get sluiced off or whatever. That's a word.
Slooshed.
Yeah. And you can only imagine if that was like a guy he was fighting who loses his arms, like these 2 arms in the elevator, and then imagine Schwarzenegger saying, "I guess we have a couple of hands." Yep. and so I'm not deleting that.
No. Hold on to that.
But moments like that, like over the top kind of violence in this like silly sci-fi movie, would have been perfectly received. But instead, he just fights a robot and kicks it out the door. Things like that. And then Total Recall, the original. Again, like I was saying, the whole time you really don't know if he's really the secret agent,
right,
or if
he's
it's
still in
the thing. And it does such a good job, especially when you watch it very close, because during when he's choosing what kind of adventure he wants to go on, the guy who's there is presenting him with options, and you can see them on the screen. And so when he says, "Oh, secret agent," it pops up on the screen. He's like, "Oh, I'll be a secret agent." Like that's cool. And the new one, Colin Farrell goes to Recall, and it looks like it's in a slum, and it's supposed to be the state-of-the-art facility. And John Cho, Sulu from the new Star Trek,
right,
Harold from Harold and Kumar, runs Recall, and he goes, "What do you want your memories to be? Do you want to be a secret agent?" And Colin Farrell goes, "Yeah, I want to be a secret agent." Yeah, that sounds great. But then, that's how they get into it in the new one. And it's so shoehorned in where he's like, "Oh yeah, you got to be a secret agent." And then immediately "You're already a secret agent." Whereas in the old one, as he's falling asleep, he's supposed to be picking his dream woman.
Right.
And he picks the woman that's from his dream. It's that dark-haired brunette woman. And you can see it's a 3D image of her. And so he picks her. And so then that's the woman that he finds. So is he dreaming or is he not? And this one, Colin Farrell just is having a bad dream. And then they kick him out. And he's basically future Jason Bourne, where he can just
suddenly can kill people.
I could fight and shoot like you wouldn't believe. And it doesn't make any sense. At least the Schwarzenegger one, he's still a regular guy.
Yeah.
And he's just stuck in this crazy adventure that may or may not be happening.
Right.
They did a really good job in the original one where you're you're keep saying "Oh my God, no, don't kill somebody. This could be you losing your mind. You're going to ruin your life." You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So you're constantly doubting it, and you're you don't want him to do damage to himself.
Yeah. Well, a great example is in the original one when they send in the guy to get him out. Like the computer program guy or whatever.
Oh yeah, that's exactly what
I'm here to give you the red pill, which I love because of the Matrix stuff. Take the red pill and you'll wake up, kind of a thing. And excuse me. And the only reason that Arnold doesn't take the pill is because the guy is sweating. He's got like a bead of sweat that runs down his head, and that tips, for whatever reason, that makes Arnold think this guy's not for real. This isn't real, or you're lying to me, and he blows the guy's head away, and everything that the guy said would happen will happen. Where he says, if you kill me, you're trapped in here forever. The walls will come caving in. Everything that you think is going on will continue to go on forever. And so then he shoots the guy in the head, and instantly the walls come crashing in, which when you're just kind of watching the movie, you're like, well, of course the guy was just working for the bad guys, but were they really?
Yeah.
Or was it the program, and in the new one, they have the same moment where his friend is the guy. The scene goes on for about 10 minutes where they just keep going back and forth, where he keeps handing his friend the gun and his friend keeps handing Jessica Biel the gun, and they keep saying, you have to shoot her in order to wake up. And it goes on for so long, and it's so boring. It's so bad. So bad. Don't watch the new Total Recall.
Yeah, I don't remember one redeeming value from it. There was maybe one thing with like a cell phone in his hand.
That was
cool.
really dumb. I mean, it's like one of those things that's cool in practice. But later in the movie, Kate Beckinsale, she has to talk on this phone that's inserted into her hand. But she calls Bryan Cranston, who's president of England.
Oh, I forgot Bryan Cranston.
And he talks on like a regular cell phone. And it doesn't make any sense. Why does she have a hand phone? It doesn't help you in any way. You still have to use it like a phone. I'm holding my hand up to my face like it was a phone.
I don't think Len Wiseman is thinking about these things. I mean, like in Underworld.
No.
Did it feel like there was a lot of thought, like this was a smart movie?
No,
he doesn't care about that. He cares about action. He cares about pretty looking actors. He cares about just popcorn entertainment.
Yeah. And everybody is a kung fu master. I mean,
naturally.
And Kate Beckinsale, once he figures out that he's, once the turn happens with her, she is like flipping off the walls and,
it's like the Matrix.
Exactly. Whereas in the original one, when he comes home and Sharon Stone is kind of waiting for him, she basically just pulls a knife on him and just tries to get him, and he gets away. But she gets like a couple good hits on him, but then he gets away from her. But like this one, she becomes the main hunter down person. Like she's in the new one, Kate Beckinsale is trying to hunt him down the entire movie.
Is she wearing tight leather pants while she's doing it?
She looks great.
Yeah, I mean, that's one reason to watch this movie. Watch the new movie.
She looks
Kate Beckinsale.
Just great.
Yeah,
but not enough. She doesn't look great enough. But I could go on for a Batman, Superman kind of length about it. I'm not gonna.
Please do.
So I'm gonna stop there. Definitely check out the old Total Recall if you haven't seen it in a long time. It's really an interesting movie. It really makes you think more than you think you will. It's not just a dumb action movie. But that brings us to everyone's favorite part of the show, where we answer last week's Dan's Dastardly Demand and Lou's Ludicrous Lustian. I don't remember what we called it.
How long did it take for you guys to figure those
we spent
out?
More time than you would think.
I can only imagine.
And that wasn't even what we came up with for Lou. But Lou asked the question, what movie was made in your hometown? And listener Judy said the movie Concussion because she's from Pittsburgh. So that's what she went with. And Dan's question was, what is a movie that you always get confused with another movie? And I should add, we ended up having to cut a lot out of last week's episode because it ran extra long. So Dan's question may not have made a lot of sense because we spent about 15 minutes talking about the movie Toy Soldiers and getting it confused with 4 other movies. So if that wasn't clear, my apologies.
It's a great question, though.
It was. And here's one of the many answers we received from Corey Icebox Johnson. We got Mission to Mars and Red Planet.
Okay.
Yeah, I always just confuse those two together. Mission to Mars is the one with Gary Sinise.
Is it?
I don't know. Gary Sinise is in one of them. And Tim Robbins is in one of them too.
Val Kilmer's in the other one.
I think
right?
Val Kilmer's in Red Planet.
No, this is all one movie.
Val Kilmer's in Red Planet, and Gary Sinise and Tim Robbins are in Mission to
No,
Mars.
this is an ensemble cast. This is big. This is a big movie.
I've seen both of those movies and can't even tell you what either one is about. I think Red Planet is aliens, but
I think they're both aliens.
Yeah.
are they both?
Yeah, but I think one's more. I think Red Planet's more like aliens. Like Mission to Mars is very subtly alien, and Red Planet's like this is alien.
Oh,
But we could be totally wrong. See, that's a perfect example of
Perfect
two movies.
example,
you
yeah.
just get completely confused.
great answer, Icebox.
Right.
Ray, you said you had a few.
Yeah, I had a few. First one was kind of confusing when they first came out. As the time has gone by, you know the difference. But Deep Impact and Armageddon
right.
both came out at like the exact same time.
Yeah.
And they were both movies about meteors killing the Earth.
Yeah.
This is for all the girls out there, and guys, if you ever seen it. No Strings Attached, and Friends with Benefits. Both came out around the same time. No Strings Attached is with Natalie Portman and Ashton Kutcher.
Yeah.
Oh.
And Friends with Benefits is with Justin Timberlake and Mila Kunis. And they're both essentially the same exact movie about two people that are like friends with benefits
Right.
that don't want to like start dating, but obviously at the end.
I think
They
I've
end up-
actually seen
They
both
both
those
came out
movies.
like in the same summer. They both came out like one came out in like June, the other came out in like August.
I remember the Timberlake one
Yeah.
because
So those movies I always get confused. And then just basically based on name, Payback and Paycheck. Payback is
I know.
Mel Gibson.
Yeah, that's a
man.
great movie.
Paycheck is the
the hell's
terrible
Paycheck?
Ben Affleck,
Paycheck,
Uma
yeah.
Thurman movie. It's like a I think it might be
Sci-fi
a Philip K.
movie,
Dick
is it really
remake
Wow.
or adaptation.
It was during the dark ages, the Ben Affleck
bad
dark
Ben
period.
Affleck times. Yeah.
Huh.
So those were a couple I had.
I don't remember if we talked about it on the show last week, but Volcano and Dante's Peak.
Oh yeah, there you go. Those are good.
And I know one is with
Volcanoes with Tommy Lee
Bond.
Jones.
Volcano's Tommy Lee Jones and Dante's Peak
Is Pierce Brosnan.
Linda Hamilton and Pierce Brosnan.
Right.
But I can't remember which movie has the old lady pushing the boat through the acid water. Like the old lady, her kids are in the boat and they don't have an oar, so she just gets out and starts walking through acid water, and then she just evaporates into the water. I can't remember what movie that's from.
That's so stupid.
I know.
When I was a kid, I got three movies confused all the time. I still to this day don't know the difference between them. There's a movie called Leviathan,
Yeah.
Deep Star 6, and The Abyss.
Yeah.
And all three movies are the same
I've seen
movie.
The Abyss.
Yeah.
This is great.
I might have liked it. I don't know, because like they're all the same movie to me. I don't know which one's which.
I get The Abyss and Sphere mixed up sometimes.
I never saw Sphere.
Sphere is an awesome movie for the first hour, and then it just gets so stupid.
Yeah.
I
ruins
just
the
like
whole
saying the
thing.
title.
Frightened.
Sphere. Such a weird word. Say it 3 times and it loses all meaning. Like, I don't even know what word I'm saying anymore.
Another one I just thought of is White House Down and Olympus Has Fallen.
Yep.
Oh,
Those are
yeah.
the same movie.
Yeah.
Same exact movie. And same
Don't they
thing.
both star Gerard Butler? Like, isn't he the president in one of them and then the hero in the other?
I don't remember. But they came out around the same time, too.
Yeah. Yeah, there's a couple. I got that way also with a couple of the Liam Neeson movies recently.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
They all
yeah.
bled together.
That happens with Steven Seagal movies, too.
Yeah.
You just think they're all the same thing. And one I just thought
Wait,
of, too.
I thought Steven Seagal made a 15-hour movie. I didn't know that they were separate.
You didn't know
movies.
that they were different?
No, I had no idea.
I just thought of another one, too. Steve Jobs and Jobs. The two different
Oh yeah.
Oh,
Steve
yeah.
Jobs biopic
Yeah.
movies.
Yeah. That's too fresh, though, I think.
Yeah, yeah.
Not enough time's gone by for us to forget which one was which.
Right.
And also, Michael Fassbender's an excellent actor.
Yeah.
All right, well, great questions, Lou and Dan.
But what was the other question? Maybe only answered one.
Yep. Lou's question was, what movie was filmed in your hometown?
Oh, that's right.
And listener Judy said Concussion, which was made last year. in Pittsburgh. So she couldn't think of another movie made in Pittsburgh in the last so many years. Judy and I share a birthday, so happy birthday, Judy. My birthday was last week.
Oh.
Thanks, guys.
Happy belated birthday.
Oh, you shouldn't have. So anyway, what is Ray? What is this week's Ray's Random Rayquest? It's back.
It's back. This week, you watched a remake of Total Recall.
Mm-hmm.
And you didn't like it.
That's right.
So either name a remake that you did like, which there aren't many. I can't think of one that is better than the original. Basically, if an original was good, was the remake even better?
Right.
Or
that's the only one I could think of.
Yep.
Yeah, that's what popped in my head.
Or a way easier way to answer it is, what is the worst remake
That's great.
you can think of? And there's a ton of those.
Mm-hmm.
Especially recently, because it seems like they're remaking everything these days.
Yeah. It's a lot of money in that. I want some money. Charlie, how can you get some money?
By plugging my graphic novel, Boy Zero, which I just found out is going to get national distribution in brick and mortar stores in November. Just in time for Christmas gifts, everybody.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah. But right now you can get it on Amazon.com, a hard copy, Volume 1 or Volume 2. Or if you want a digital copy, go to Comixology, go to iTunes, go to Drive-Thru Comics, Caliber, Comics.com. Pretty much anywhere you could buy a digital book, you can get it there. Boy Zero by Charles Chester.
And if you're listening to us on the Podcast Radio Network, we're here every week on Wednesdays at 10:30. If you would like to hear more from us, you can listen to our back catalog, and you can find that on... Yeah, we got a back catalog. There's 30 episodes now. This is episode 30. This is our 31st episode.
Wow.
We didn't do anything for the 26th, except produce more entertaining content. But you can find us on SoundCloud, iTunes, Stitcher, Twitter, Facebook. You can find us on all the regular places. Google Play Music.
thisweekinfilmpodcast.com.
That's right. Comment with, or like our Facebook page, share the show, like us, review us, all that nonsense. Answer Ray's random request, and we'll talk about your movie that you mentioned on the show, probably. Other than that, I don't have anything else. You guys have anything else?
No.
Well,
Peace out.
If that's the end of the reel, we'll see you next week in film.